So John Cena cut his first heel promo this past week on Raw, and I have to say, I think it's going to go down as one of the best, if not the best promo we have ever seen. And I do not say that lightly. If you haven't seen it yet, go and watch it and then jump back over to this video, because today we're going to do a little bit of something different today for our channel. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive discussion, share our thoughts, reactions, emotions, and analysis about this John Cena heel promo we saw on Raw this week, live from Brussels, Belgium. If you're new here, we are Kickout Club. My name is Tyler, and we like to post a variety of wrestling content in short form and long form formats. If you like it, wrestling YouTube videos, if you like podcasts or TikToks, we have it all. We got you covered here. So if you're watching on YouTube, like this video, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel, because we come out with podcasts every single week, both here on YouTube and on all podcast platforms in audio format. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere that you listen to podcasts. If you leave a 5-star rating and review, we would really, really appreciate that. And most important, if you go and follow us over on TikTok as well. We're really growing out an audience over on TikTok with short form content. We're going to post a bunch of clips from this video over there as well. And y'all, let's get into it. So as I mentioned, Raw is live from Brussels, Belgium this week. And that means Raw is on Netflix at 3 p.m. Eastern time here on the East Coast, which is really, really insane. But it's because of this Netflix deal basically saying that Raw airs live no matter where it's being held and what time zone they're in. So obviously 8 p.m. in Belgium is going to be 3 p.m. here in the States. So we got a 3 p.m. Monday Night Raw for once, which is pretty cool, I'd say. Very weird, but also even weirder when it was opened by heel John Cena. He comes out to the same music, same graphics, same attire, but a bit of a different demeanor. You know, he holds up his towel, it has his saying on it, "The last time is now." Usually he throws that along with his hat out into the crowd before running to the ring. He hangs on to it this time. He doesn't throw it out. I think he throws the towel to the ground and he runs in the ring, hat on. He wears the hat throughout the entire promo. The camera, when he walks down the ramp, the camera's behind him as he slowly walks down the ramp, where normally he runs down to the ring. It's interesting because you see all the fans in the arena reaching out, trying to touch him, to high-five him, to be a part of this with him, and he just doesn't acknowledge it. I almost wish we could have gotten a view from the front as well to see if he's making eye contact with these fans. Is he just, tunnel vision straight to the ring? Like, how is he looking at these fans? I'm assuming he's keeping the grimace that he has on his face throughout the majority of this promo, but is he giving the fans any kind of indication that he's acknowledging their presence, or is he just tunnel vision straight to the ring? Either way, we get that cool shot from behind him all the way down the ramp. The Brussels crowd, absolutely electric, raining down boos. As soon as the song starts, "John Cena sucks, John Cena sucks," all those chants, heavy boos. And Cena gets in the ring, with mic in hand, ready to talk, and the crowd is still booing. Erupts in "Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks" chants, quintessential John Cena, which is almost interesting because we've been conditioned to see the people chanting "Let's Go Cena" being the families, the children, the people there that are more for fun, the casuals, if you will, whereas the diehard wrestling fans, mostly grown-up men, are the ones chanting "Cena sucks." Maybe the dads in those families as well. But now that Cena's heel, you have to imagine there's a kind of flip in who's chanting for what if they're not cheering, if they're just picking one as opposed to cheering for both, right? It has to be, at this point, the grown-up men and the adults in the room, the diehard fans chanting "Let's Go Cena," and the families, the children, the casuals chanting "Cena sucks." Very, very interesting to think about. So Cena holds the mic, and he's about to, he's debating whether or not he wants to start talking, and the crowd's chanting "Let's Go Cena, Cena sucks," "You sold out" chants, and he puts the mic down and starts to walk away. The crowd boos. He picks it back up, and that happens a couple more times until he finally starts talking. And it's so interesting because if you follow John Cena on Twitter, he likes to post a lot of adages, a lot of motivational quotes, and it's interesting, right? Because that is who John Cena is as a person, but as a heel, you're not sure if he's going to feel, you're not sure how he's going to act. He's still posting these quotes on his Twitter after the heel turn, and he picks up the mic, and the first thing he says is one of these adages. He says, when someone is properly grounded in life, They shouldn't have to look outside themselves for approval. As the boos are raining down on him, almost proving his point in saying that quote. And I love the condescending nature of that John Cena Twitter Cena. And I hope he taps into that more. It'd be kind of cool if he opened each heel promo he does moving forward with one of those motivational quotes that almost fits the story that he's trying to tell. I think that's really cool. It gives like a condescending aura to it. Big fan. He goes into it a little bit. Let's getting into the substance of the promo a little more. He talks about how for 25 years he's been the victim of an abusive relationship with the fans. You know, throughout his entire career, he's done nothing but be the top of the company, the top guy, but he's faced a lot of resistance and a lot of pushback in that position as well. You know, people that didn't like his wrestling ability, people that didn't like how he would overcome all of these challenges being thrown in front of him, how they just preferred the character work of the heels a little bit more than John Cena because he was so, you know, white meat babyface. And so he says, all you do is be hurtful, be abusive, bully me to be your damn puppet, and expect me to do it with a smile on my face. No more. And at that point, the crowd chants, fuck you, Cena, which is interesting because, A, it's on Netflix, and they're still bleeping out the F-bombs for why. But also that, you know, it's almost proving Cena's point. You know, no matter what Cena does, they're still going to hate him. So what's the point in doing what they want him to do? Because they're always going to find a reason to hate it. So he's just going to do whatever he wants to do for himself. You know, Cena says, I'm not a babyface. I'm not a heel. I'm a human being. You know, furthering the propaganda that Emil has used to always espouse to me in the old school days of this pod. If you listen to us back in the day, Emil and I used to have a lot of arguments of, are faces and heels real? Is it a real thing in wrestling? And at the time it was, in my opinion, and it wasn't in Emil's head. And Emil has convinced me in this era of WWE that he is correct. There is no clear-cut babyface or heel. There are babyfaces that get booed. There are heels that get cheered. And there's a lot of morally gray in this era of wrestling. A lot of WWE presenting the story as it is, not giving us a reason to like or hate either person, and let us decide for ourselves. And I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool. It also humanizes John Cena, and it pulls back the curtain a little bit. It makes it feel like Cena is talking to us as the human, as John Cena the man, the person outside of the ring, not the wrestling character, not the TV star. You know, this is Cena, the person. He goes into it a little more, saying it's never enough for the audience. You know, he's faced moments of embarrassment and shame from the audience. He's changed himself in hopes that they would like him. And it worked for a little while, but it wasn't enough. And that can go back to multiple eras in John Cena's career. You know, when he first started, he was boring, and there were rumors that there were talks that Vince was going to let him go. But eventually Cena started rapping, and they were like, whoa, that could be something. So they played into that and the Chain Gang and Thugonomics character, and that was really cool, and it got him over. And at that point, he was a heel, and people started to cheer him for rapping at his opponents, to diss them. And that started getting the crowd behind him. And then eventually, as Cena rose up the ranks and won the title, he became the big babyface champion, beating JBL at WrestleMania 21, I believe. And so at some point there, you know, the fans started pulling back. The fans started booing Cena. He started rapping less as well, but still, the fans started liking Cena a little bit less. Think about ECW One Night Stand 2006. You know, that was one of the first times that it was emphatically like, we do not like John Cena. And he was still a face throughout all of that. And then we get to 2008, I believe, the Royal Rumble 2008, when John Cena returns from injury super, super early, and the crowd's like, whoa, this is crazy, loving John Cena, cheering the hell out of John Cena, and then eventually they do turn on him then as well. You know, think about it. 2009, he's feuding with Randy Orton when Orton's punting people. He's on the psychopath run. You know, he's the legend killer. He's the Viper at that point, turning into the Viper, the buzz cut, all of that. Bald Randy Orton, all that. And then we get to 2010, coming out of 2009 into the feud with Orton. We get 2010 with the Nexus, and Cena's overcoming 8 guys trying to take him out, and people are starting to not like that, as Cena is carrying the company and he's the face of the company. And then we have the summer of Punk in 2011, where people are really starting to turn on Cena because Punk is starting to garner so much support and love from the crowd, because Punk is doing something different. because Punk isn't white meat babyface. There is morally gray in there, and the fans do like a little bit of morally gray in there, a little bit of morally gray, and Cena was not doing that enough. And each of those points, Cena changed himself just a little bit, got the crowd behind him, and then eventually the crowd turned again. And Cena started training more and becoming a better wrestler in the ring, and then the fans finally started coming around on Cena. But at that point, it was almost the twilight of his career. He was kind of starting, you could see he was starting to wind down a little bit. So interesting stuff there. He talks about how he worked hard and started to win and win and win and win. Like I mentioned in when he was the face of the company, I won a lot and you hated it. And I spent 10 years giving away everything I could, and it still wasn't enough. You know, the fans always wanted more from Cena, he said. He was saying the fans always wanted more out of me. The more I gave, you still never cared. You still never liked me. You still never fully bought into me. You still never supported me. And then Cena almost takes this turn into disappointed dad Cena, where he's saying, you should be ashamed of yourself. You know, not one of you sons of bitches asked me how I feel. And that was like, oh, that hit me in the heart. That's not something my John Cena would have said. The John Cena I grew up watching, he would have never said that. He would have never swore, called the fans sons of bitches. He never would have said it with the tone that he said it in. Crazy. It's always about what do we get? And what do we get? And what do we get? You get nothing. He says you get nothing. He says you don't get a new look. You don't get new music. That's my voice on that song, on My Time Is Now. Your time is finally up, and my time is finally now. And this is what I'm starting to think, now I get why Cena didn't change a thing about his character. Now I get why the presentation is the same. Because on the surface, yeah, it is very superhero-like. It is very white meat babyface-like. It is very, motivational. It gives Captain America, it gives big superhero vibe, right? But if you think about it, all of the catchphrases, the ideals, the beliefs, never give up, hustle, loyalty, respect, rise above hate. Your time is up, my time is now. All of that takes a whole new meaning with this heel Cena. A meaning that is there, even with this heel character. You know, rise above hate. At the time when he was a face, he was rising above the hate of the bad guys in wrestling in the locker room. Rise above the hatred from those that are evil. That wasn't the fans. But now it's rise above hate from the fans. Now it's on us. Now we are the target of this. Hustle, loyalty, respect. Who is he hustling, being loyal, and respecting for? Before it was for us, and now it's for him. Your time is up, my time is now. He was saying that to the bad guys in wrestling, to the bad guys, to the heels. Now he's saying that to us. Now he's saying that to the fans. He's turned all of these things, all of the brand, the character, the aspects of John Cena. He has turned it all around on us. He has put the mirror up in front of our face. That's good character work. At first, I totally was like, we need Cena in a singlet, in boots, pants, or tights, not jorts. No hats, no color, no armbands, none of this merch. Cena in a robe. Now I get it. We don't need it. It's everything we need in the heel Cena is right here in front of us. We just didn't know it was there. And I'm very excited to see where that goes. He then talks about everyone is a bad person, no matter what side you're on. You know, talking about how he's always been a divisive figure. And now that he's a heel, it's not just flipping the people that hated to like and the like to hate. Everybody is the problem. Everyone is a bad person, and everyone is wrong. This is a direct quote. The Cena sucks jackoffs. They've already proven themselves awful people. And I'm about to tell you why the Let's Go Cena people are just as awful. He goes on, you steal from me. You steal my moments. You steal my time. I'm just an object to you. For going back to the abusive relationship comments. You've made me the butt of a stupid invisible joke for 15 years, and it's not funny. You're pathetic. And that's another moment where I was like, oh, because John Cena, he's supposed to be, you can do anything you put your mind to. You're all beautiful people. Cena's supposed to be the one to give us hope, to talk us up when we're feeling down. And instead, he's just reaffirming all of the negative thoughts we have in our head, calling us all pathetic. Again, reaffirming taking the elements of the Cena brand and turning it around on its head. He says, you hear words like hustle, loyalty, respect. I live them every day. You think you can buy the words never give up? I'm the definition of perseverance, and everyone in this building knows it. You do not support me. You use me as an excuse for your pathetic failure of a life. This is John Cena. This is the guy that has been shaking hands, kissing babies, doing Make-A-Wish stuff. This is a spokesperson for this company. This is the guy that we're supposed to have been rooting for the past 25 years. And now he says, all you've done for 25 years is sit on your ass and watch me be great. I'm breaking up with you, every single person, whether you like me or you don't. I don't need you anymore. I don't care about you, and you don't matter to me. That is the furthest thing from the John Cena we have been accustomed to. The furthest thing. It's insane. But it's grounded in reality. It's grounded in elements that make sense. He didn't have to change a thing. It was all right there. The promo that he just cut at that point as a whole was everything that has probably been on his mind that he doesn't actually feel. But if he was a bad person, if he was an evil person, if he was a different type of person, he would say that to people. These are all things that Cena has thought at some point. I feel it. I feel it. Does he personally feel that way now? No. But they're thoughts that have crossed his mind. If Cena was a bad person, this is how he would feel. And I love that about it. I really do. Cody Rhodes comes out at this point, and by this point, the crowd is just fully anti-Cena. And so Cody coming out at that point, massive pop. Like, WrestleMania 40 build levels of ovation for Cody. The crowd singing Kingdom, his entrance music, and Cody and Cena stand in the ring and soak it all in for a minute. And Cody starts by saying, I was going to hear you out, but I've heard enough. The crowd has given Cena their worst. That's true. But they've also given their best for 25 years. Because Cena was special. Because Cena could take it. Because Cena could carry it like he carried the company on his back. The people that carry this company, the people like Cena, the people like Roman, the people like Cody, they can take all that criticism. They should be able to take all that criticism. And Cena tries to say, listen, kid, and Cody cuts him off and says, enough. And it's certainly not kid. It's WWE champion. And that for a moment, I got a sidebar. Totally cringe, Cody. Totally cringe. Kind of took me out of it for a minute. I get it, but a little bit cringe. Maybe not for everybody, but for me. Anyway, Cody says, who is this guy? Because this guy isn't John Cena. He says, go find John Cena. Because I want to wrestle him at WrestleMania 41. Not this whiny bitch. And he drops the mic and he leaves. And that was it. And as short as I talked about this Cody segment of the promo, that's pretty much how short it was on TV. He didn't talk very much. And so Cody leaves at that point. But no music plays. And I'm like, why? But I kept watching and I understood why. Cody leaves, the crowd's cheering, the crowd's chanting. The crowd did not die down for a second. He soaks in that ovation as he walks out. And after Cody leaves, Cena then is left standing in the ring. The crowd's booing at that point. He drops the mic And he slowly walks out to the back. And his music doesn't play either. And I think it's because they wanted to show that dichotomy of Cody getting all of the love from these fans. All of it. And Cena getting all of the hatred, all the vitriol, all the booing. That promo was really something special. And unfortunately, I'm not talking about anything Cody said. Because Cody was not necessary here. Cody was not necessary at all. And if you know me, if you follow our podcast, if you follow all the content we put out there, you know I love Cody Rhodes. You know I love Cody Rhodes. I'm a big Cody Rhodes fan. He's one of my all-time favorites, if not my all-time favorite. And Cody didn't say anything. He didn't say much. He said more in those 2 promos where Cena wasn't there than he did in this promo with Cena standing there. It felt like Cody for me was there for value rather than substance. And by that I mean WWE's on this huge European tour for the road to WrestleMania. It makes sense to have the biggest names possible there. It's been a long time since they've had wrestling there, I believe. But also, I don't know if they've had television tapings or television aired live from these places in Europe that they're going to. Not all of them. They've done Glasgow, they've done London, they've done France, obviously. I don't know if they've done Italy. I don't know if they definitely haven't done Belgium on TV as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it just felt more like it was Cody was there to check the box that Cody was there for the people that paid money to see him. That may never have a chance to see him for the next year or 2 until they come back to Belgium. Rather than like giving him something substantial to say, he just kind of came out and said, "You're not John Cena. Who is this guy? Go find the real John Cena," and then leaves. Now, you're probably wondering too, what's the purpose of everything? Big picture, right? Let's zoom out a little bit. Big picture. This story that's going on between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. What's the point, right? I think the point here is to get Cody over as a bigger babyface than he already was. Especially because Cody hasn't had the greatest WWE title reign. I will concede that. Especially, those few months after he had first won it, when it was, AJ Styles and Logan Paul and all these one-off opponents. AJ was a great feud for sure, but it wasn't anything spectacular. Logan Paul was a one-off that was fine. Wasn't great. It was for a Saudi show. Not our favorite. We don't love Saudi shows, right? But the Kevin Owens feud was really freaking good. Right? The Kevin Owens feud was fantastic. But that feud tapped into the darker side of Cody, right? And so going into that story, we were probably all thinking like we were getting teases of Cody turning heel. And honestly, going into WrestleMania 41, I thought Cena was going to face Cody, but I thought Cody was going to turn heel against Cena. In the build, it was going to be a face versus face build until WrestleMania, and Cody turns heel coming off of the back of this KO feud where the darker side was building, and it was going to culminate at WrestleMania where Cody did something heelish to get the win and either turn heel right then and there against Cena, or it officially happened in the fallout of WrestleMania 41. But no, we got this heel turn from Cena instead. And so that has me thinking that this is all purposely done to further cement Cody as the face of the company, as the top guy in WWE. And John Cena is the guy that's going to do it for him. John Cena is going to put over Cody as the face of the company on his way out during his last year, his retirement tour. And that this retirement tour for Cena as the heel, you talk about a Liv Morgan revenge tour. No, this is a John Cena revenge tour, because I think John Cena is going to beat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania and go on the run of a lifetime as a heel WWE champion. I think he might show up less. I think he might go into the super main eventer territory. If you watched our TikTok or you watched our last podcast, you'll know what I'm talking about there. The Roman Reigns type, the Rock type, kind of the Cody Rhodes type. They're there every other week. Sometimes they're there a couple, like, regularly, but there are periods when they're only there a couple weeks out of a month. They miss a couple dates here and there. They wrestle on TV rarely, once every couple months, but they're there for the big shows, the PLEs, stuff like that. I think that's going to be Cena, especially with this Hollywood background that he has right now as a celebrity that's really transcended the wrestling business, So I think it's going to be this story where we spend this year with Cena as champion on a revenge tour of sorts. And Cody is going to be spending this year working his way back up to getting back to John Cena, back to the WWE title, and trying to make John Cena see the light. And I don't know when it's going to happen. It could happen at SummerSlam. It could happen in December when the rumored Saturday night's main event is taking place at TD Garden in Boston. Cena's technically hometown, home state. Eventually, Cena's going to see the light. Eventually, Cody's going to win back the WWE title, and Cena is going to ride off into the sunset as a babyface, as he should. Another question that's probably looming in your head is, where is the final boss? Where's The Rock, right? Because The Rock's been in and out with this storyline with Cody Rhodes since Bad Blood. Before that, WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania 40, saying, I'm coming for the WWE title. And then we go to Bad Blood, and The Rock is doing the 1, 2, that was funny, 1, 2, 3, throat slash, Also, this being the John Cena thing, people are saying it wasn't initially planned. I wouldn't be surprised if it was initially planned and that was done purposely. But I can't see that being a big coincidence. But anyway, I digress. And then we get to, the Raw Netflix debut. And he comes out and does this corporate promo. But then he shows up on this random SmackDown and says, Cody, I want your soul. I don't want your title. I want your soul. And everyone's like, what? And then there's this weird post-SmackDown press conference where Rock's like, Cody and I don't have to wrestle. We don't have to wrestle for this story. It's a big enough story as it is. We don't need to wrestle. And everyone's like, yes, you do. At this point, you probably should. But we do not get that either. Yet. And then we get to Elimination Chamber where The Rock says, Cody, I need an answer. You're going to sell your soul to me or not? You're going to be my brother? And Cena does it instead. And some of us are a little worried, like Cena's looking a little bit like a stooge here. What gives? Cena's looking a little like a stooge. But now that Rock isn't there, it's kind of nice because Cena gets to take the center stage. But it begs the question, how involved is The Rock? Is The Rock just watching this from afar, not pulling the strings, or is he actively pulling the strings and working behind the scenes? And what purpose does Travis Scott have in all this, if anything? Because he was all over that scene, that initial scene when Cena did turn heel. He's in the photos. He was hanging around with Rock and Cena the whole time, lurking alongside them. There has to be a purpose for that, and I think we'll see that eventually. But I just had to bring it up because I don't want to forget. That's a crucial detail. Rock is a key point in this story. And y'all, I'll leave it with this. This promo was the start of a fantastic run for a John Cena heel run. And this main event match at WrestleMania 41, I'm assuming it's going to be the last match on night 2. I firmly believe it will go down as one of, if not the best John Cena WrestleMania match we've ever seen. For both the story and the match itself. But y'all, we'll see where all that leads us. We'll see where all that leads us. Let me know what you thought about this promo. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know in the comments. If you're watching on Spotify as well, leave it in the comments too. Like this video. Subscribe to our channels if you haven't already on YouTube, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Go follow us over there. Please, on podcast platforms, please leave us a 5-star review with a review. We'd really appreciate it. If not, just a 5-star rating. It only does good. It only helps us build our community. And If you like the short form stuff, clips of everything, follow us on TikTok as well. All of your support on all these platforms really means the world to us, and it only helps to grow this community. The bigger we can grow this community, the better it's going to be for all of us involved. So, y'all, I've been Tyler. Really appreciate you tuning in. We'll be here later this week with a full podcast, and we'll talk a little bit more about it with the rest of the guys. So, y'all, thank you very much. We are Kickout Club, where we never stay down. We'll see y'all later.